Picture with me this scenario. Suddenly you became a CEO of a multi-million-dollar real estate company, or you will be one in the next 5 years. Maybe you unfortunately later run the business into the ground. In any case, do you really believe successful people have big brains in their heads? Think again, does that paint a true picture? Hello, welcome to JNSFR Sales and Marketing blog. In truth, if you are the top CEO of international companies like IQI Global Estate Agency or Collier International, can you sit tight in such a position? So hold that thought for a while. Could put you in a tight spot? Fear not. Believe me, you can be one of them if you try harder and longer. True? For starters, you should watch and learn from this video right to the end. This may be one of the many ways you can be a rich and successful sales and marketing individual, especially in our real estate business. It is possible. You bet. Hold your horses. Before speaking another word, may I introduce myself as Madam Sophia, the virtual assistant to CTM Joseph NG, your sales and marketing e-coach and e-mentor. Alright, without further ado, here is a red-hot news, viable solution on issue regarding unbuilt affordable homes. Real Estate and Housing Developers Association, REDA, hopes the Public-Private Partnership, PPP, program will help resolve the long-standing issue of unbuilt low-cost housing units. REDA Johor branch chairman Wong Boon Lang said that over the years, the state government had tried various approaches. These included enforcing compliance and delivery of low-cost houses via the transitional program, but they were unable to produce the desired results. Hopefully the new mechanism will have a positive impact, Wong said when contacted. He described the PPP as a win-win approach, as it allowed developers to surrender designated and approved land for low-cost housing to the state government without having to pay a penalty for not building any units. He said that upon surrendering the land, developers would be able to carry on with the rest of the approved development project without restrictions. They will no longer have to comply with the condition to build low-cost units for that particular housing project, he added. Currently, a developer has to pay Rm 40,000 for each unbuilt low-cost house under the Johor housing policy. Wong said the state government could undertake the development of low-cost housing on the surrendered land in any way it deemed fit. He noted that there were 153,000 unbuilt low-cost housing units by developers on almost 2,003.19 hectares of land in Johor. He said there were no clear guidelines in the past regarding the time period, and most developers did not build these units the earlier phases. Developers who have not commenced construction of approved low-cost units should consider this offer by Johor government, he added. Wong said that since it was mandatory, it was up to the developers to study the merits of the program. The PPP is restricted to only the unbuilt 153,000 units under the low-cost scheme, he said. He added that building low-cost housing under the existing price structure of Rm 42,000, Rm 80,000 and Rm 150,000 was very challenging. The PPP pilot project was launched by Johor Menteri Besar Datuk Hasni Mohamad on November 27 at Gerbang Nusajaya. Johor REDA had signed a memorandum of understanding with the state government for the PPP initiative. There are 5 types of Johor affordable housing: Rumah Makmur Johor, RMP, Rumah Andar Johor, Pangsay Purathsan Johor, Pangsay Puri Johor, and Rumah Transit Johor. In an earlier report, State Husn and Local Government Committee Chairman Ayub Jamil said it expected 115,000 units, out of 153,000 slanted for development between 1997 and 2020, to be built under the PPP. He said a new entity known as Johor State Housing Corporation had been given the role of managing the Johor Special Housing Program. Meanwhile, Wong expressed gratitude on behalf of developers to Hasna for his mission and vision to transform the housing sector. He said this after attending a briefing on RMJPPP by Ayub. The closed-door event was held at Maithini in Iskandar Puteri and attended by some 130 Johor REDA members. Wong said credit should go to Ayub for his commitment in obtaining feedback from developers. He said Ayub had also pledged to look into problems faced by Bumiputra buyers, including those eligible for bank loans but could not get low-cost units. Wong described the setting up of the Johor State Housing Corporation as timely too. He said the corporation would facilitate and handle housing-related affairs in Johor, which currently comes under the purview of the Johor State Secretary, SUKJ, Housing Division. For the first time, professionals and experts in the housing industry will be on board as they have a better understanding of housing matters, said Wang. From Open Source Printed Media, January 4, 2022. By the way, are you happy with this week's bulletin? I hope you do. As for myself, it is a big yes. You ask why? These fact and figures shown are down-to-earth truths to forewarn us to take strict measures when buying and selling properties, especially before, during and after the COVID-19 pandemic seasons. P.S. Please give us a thumbs up. Also do subscribe to our channel so you would not miss out any of our practical and useful video clips. We love your feedbacks to improve the quality of our weekly bulletin. Alright. PPS. Before we part company, may I introduce Madame Florence, another virtual assistant to CTM Joseph. She will deliver a completely free and without any obligations a chapter from the book How to Close Every Sale and Every Time. Are you more cheerful now? Until we meet again, this is Madame Sophia wishing you sayonara and happy selling. Thanks a million. Yes.
Thank you, Madame Sophia, for allowing me to share the other half of this week's bulletin. In case you don't know me, my name is Madame Florence, another virtual assistant to CTM Joseph NG, your sales and marketing e-coach and e-mentor. Without further ado, here is a complete 100% free chapter. With no strings attached. Alright. Chapter 20, Call Back Close or Lost Sales Close. Quote, the callback close, also known as the lost sales close, works best when the detective seller has given up and is literally saying goodbye to the perpetrator prospect. By Michelangelo Caruso, he is an internationally recognized author and speaker. He's the founder of Edison House, a Michigan-based communications consulting company. You may have heard this quote. Winners never quit. Quitters never win. Yet it is most appropriate to quote this saying at this juncture. Believe me, research has proven that it is practiced by great salespeople. They even need to close stubborn sales by trying to close as many as 6 times. True. Joke aside, needless to say, when all else has failed, using the lost sales close technique can be effective. Such a close is a last-ditch effort. You use it when all of your other closing techniques have failed. Take heed, not all sales can close on the first or even second or third time. Because of this, it's often necessary to set a callback visit to continue the so-called conversation. Like most parts of a selling process, the callback is one of those recurring situations that you, or your sales team, will find yourself need to revisit prospects countless times a day or week to try to close again. Agree or not? Because of this, it's important that you develop and then script out a best practice second or third approaches to close the sale effectively. Unfortunately, many sales reps have never given the callback visit, or very many other parts of their sale, much thought. Instead, they ad-lib it and so develop ineffective and bad habits. You get the idea. I am sure you will. A bad examples includes, by the way, when should I follow up with you? This is obviously a weak return visit setup and may lose control of the call again to the prospect. As strange as it may sound, this may result in over 50% of sales reps being failed to handle the call back close exercise. Here is an excellent example of the proper way to set a callback visit. Mr. Prospect, in terms of talking to your partner, what time today can you do that? Sometimes it's better to assume they can and will be speaking with the other person that same day. This works best in a small company or in a business-to-consumer sale. If you know it's going to be later in the week or another time, then change the script accordingly. Hence, try, Mr. Potential Customer, when is the soonest you'll be speaking with them? By doing it the first way, you'll either be setting or confirming the time frame and controlling the callback visit. If they can't do it that day, then they'll come back with a more definite day and time. And that will keep you in tighter control of the sales cycle. After they let you know, say, okay, great. I'm looking at my calendar for that day. What's better for you on that Tuesday, morning or afternoon? Now you're locking down not only the day, but also the time. You're getting them involved and having them check their schedule. Once again, you are controlling the call back. And by doing it this way, you're not letting a lot of time pass between when they speak to their partner and when you do your presentation again. Here's what I'd suggest. Since you're likely to have some questions come up between our next call, How about I reach out to you in 1 week? 2 weeks, whatever is appropriate, just to see if there is anything I can convince you again to reconsider your buying decision. I've got my calendar in front of me. How does suggest a day and time look for you? Once again, you are driving the sales cycle and the callback visit. This is crucial to keep you top of mind and to allow you to head off any problems that might come up during the decision process. Do you notice a trend? Once again, I'm in control of the callback time frame. And don't worry, if that's not okay with them, they'll suggest another day time that is. Setting a callback like this keeps the sale moving forward and keeps them from falling through the cracks. Workable. You bet. Now what happens if they want to call you back and won't allow you to set the callback date? 2 things. One is that this isn't a good sign. It means they want to control the sales cycle, which is never good, and, number 2, it can also mean there is unsolved buying objection that is standing in the way of the sale. You get the idea. When this happens, you should try to move the callback date out just a little further and still try to control when you get to callback meetup. Try. I understand. What's the timeline for this? Qualify for timeline first. Then, tell you what, if I don't hear from you in the next 30 days, whatever is appropriate, then I'll get in touch with you to see if there are any buying doubts. What do you prefer, mornings or afternoons? Once again, you're in control of the callback, and you've got a definite time frame and time of day to call back and close the sale again. The bottom line with the callback call is to keep control of when it happens. Never leave it up to your prospect. Try to lock down the soonest date after any event that is going to happen, like them speaking to a partner, etc. Next, get them involved by having them check their calendar and identify a time of day. Try to get their buyer in on that day for the 2nd or 3rd time. By getting better at directing the sales cycle, you'll get closer to closing the deals happen on the 2nd attempt. Make it a point to get good at this, and all other selling stages. Summary. Just to refresh your mind on this chapter, it is good to remind ourselves the resounding words of Michelangelo Caruso. Next, do recall that we need to try to close as many as 6 times. The call back close is a last-ditch effort to conclude the difficult close. Always develop and then script out for best practices in our 2nd or more approaches to handle the final sale. Ultimately, do remember to ensure the call back close process is under your control. Never leave it up to your prospect. Get my drift? You bet. Conclusion. Therefore, to wrap up this chapter 20 on callback close or lost sales close, we must be prepared to use this method to close every difficult sales. There is nothing to lose since the other closing methods has failed. In all honesty, I, myself, has tried this method. It worked most of the time. But be prepared to face failures. If you don't try, you have failed already. At any case, to take failures as stepping stone. Agree or not? All said and done, I believe we shall part company. Until we meet again, hope to see you in the next chapter. Goodbye and thanks a million. P.S. Should you need to acquire this book, How to Close Every Sales and Every Time, you can always contact the author and club's president CTM Joseph SFNG at josephsing@gmail.com. Or call 601-238-78592. Thanks.